For many years, we have been on a journey towards a more sustainable, greener and better future. A journey that brings a true balance of economic, environmental and societal requirements, a new normal. And I appreciate and fully support that. Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, welcome to this year's LME Week, the second virtual one in a row. Some of you might think, not virtual again, not another LME Week without meeting in person. Without the good traditions, however, some might not miss the LME dinner, and intensive talks and a couple of days of industry speed dating. The current times show we need to stay flexible. Nothing is set in stone any longer. Yet, change comes along with new opportunities. This is true for the way we do business today, but even more for how we will conduct business in the future. And there are plenty of opportunities to deepen our partnership in this future. Before I talk more about that, I would like to take the opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for our close long-term partnerships, especially in the challenging last 1.5 years. Business partners, we always strive to find the best possible solution for you. My promise, this will be also true for the future. Not that long ago, sustainability was called a trend. Some people thought this would not affect us too much. Today, everyone in the industry is convinced it's not a trend, it's a success factor. I'm personally convinced that acting sustainably or not will be the distinctive factor between success and failure in the future. At Arubis, we follow a clear North Star. We have the aim of being the most efficient and sustainable smelter network in the world. We achieve this by constantly delivering more value with less environmental footprint, as well as improvements in social aspects, and by being transparent about our progress. To do this, we have not only committed to the Science Based Target Initiative, our targets have already been validated by them as one of the first in the sector. By further decarbonizing our production, we are contributing to the 1.5-degree goal of the Paris Climate Agreement. We follow the target of being carbon neutral by 2050, with the right overall conditions, especially the availability of competitive green energy, also much earlier. Therefore, we are an active player in initiatives like the German Foundation 2°. It's about climate neutrality made in Europe, about making decarbonization work for all sectors and becoming the role model for the industry worldwide. I just pointed out that sustainability will drive the way we do business in the future. Why is this the case? One example. CO2 emissions are deeply connected throughout the entire value chain. Our Scope 1 and 2 emissions are your Scope 3 emissions. This goes from raw material suppliers to traders, smelters and processors, as well as OEMs, all the way to end consumers. So, to be successful in combating climate change, we depend on each other. We are in this together, along the whole value chain. Thus, the framework conditions that the European politicians will create in the coming years will determine how the copper industry will prosper or not. Therefore, we, as the copper industry, need to advocate for a stable political framework here in Europe. Policymakers need to understand the energy-intensive copper industry holds a pivotal role in the process of decarbonization. This because metals play a key role. They are part of a society's climate-friendly future. They are at the start of many value chains, including those for batteries, renewable energies, clean mobility, and microelectronics. Europe needs these metals. The European economy needs these metals. But the metal industry needs regulatory support as well. Let's take energy, for example. Europe needs a solution for a stable and reliable energy supply before shutting down too many conventional power plants. We must be honest to people about the size and the impact of the transformation. This will be a time-lapse industrial revolution. We aim to achieve this transformation in 20 to 30 years, a transformation which normally would take 80 to 100 years. To avoid any misunderstanding, I'm optimistic. I firmly believe that this is possible. Europe will be the first climate-neutral continent. But Europe, therefore, needs to be more open for new technologies like synthetic fuels and hydrogen. And yes, also carbon capture and storage and carbon capture and utilization. We also need to make renewable energy mobile, truly international, and thus secure industry in Europe. And there must be a fair CO2 price. And since copper is a global raw material, I advocate for a global solution. If this were in place, we as Arubis could even accelerate our plans and continue to act as the leader in sustainability in the future as well. Back from the future to present. We at Arubis are proud of how far we have come in terms of responsible business. We have already made very good progress. Acting sustainably has been normal for us for decades. It's our ethical aspiration and the basis for our license to operate. Some facts to underline. Since 2000, we have reduced our SO2 emissions by around 85%. CO2 emissions from the use of fuels were cut by almost 40%, and dust emissions even by 96%. Of course, we are not the only ones making progress. So let's look where we stand in terms of industrial comparison. According to the latest available life cycle assessment of the International Copper Association, the global copper industry emits around 4 tons of CO2 per ton of copper. 4 tons. Currently, Arubis has a footprint of 1.7 tons per ton of copper, so 50% less. And with the planned extension of our industrial heat project, we would, theoretically, even operate below a third of the global average footprint. We have a proven track record of communicating sustainability information to the external world. Our environmental statements date back to the beginning of 2000. And we are happy that reputable agencies prove that. EcoVadis, for example, honored this with the rare platinum status. This means Arubis belongs to the top 1% in terms of sustainability in our sector. We could be satisfied. So, time to lean back? No, not by any means. We are good when it comes to sustainability and efficiency. Fair enough. But we want to be a truly great company in both of these aspects. This hasn't changed in the 2 years since I took over the role as CEO of Arubis. And be assured, this will not change in the future. But how can we bridge the gap from an already good to a truly great company? We do this by following our mission, responsibly transforming raw materials into value, to provide metals for an innovative world. Arubis is part of the solution. We make a sustainable society happen. Therefore, we work on innovative ways to combine our strengths with the needs of society. I will give you a short summary of what we are working on and how the future can look. Let's talk about efficiency and innovation. With the first phase of our industrial heat project, we have demonstrated how to close loops in the most efficient way. In the back, you can see the new district of Hamburg, Hafen City East. It's the home of the famous Elbphilharmonie concert hall. Our industrial heat project supplies this district with reliable and CO2 neutral district heating. In parallel, it has a savings potential of up to 20,000 tons of CO2 per year. It was successfully implemented in 2018. For the future, we are targeting Arubis' further industrial heating potential of up to 100,000 tons of CO2 savings per year. This follow-up project would make a significant contribution to achieving the climate targets of the city of Hamburg. And it supports our sustainability ambition by further reducing the CO2 footprint. This summer, we introduced a more efficient way of recycling with ASPA. ASPA stands for Advanced Sludge Processing by Arubis. The investment of nearly 30 million euro flows into a state-of-the-art recycling facility at our site in Berse. Based on a hydrometallurgical process, ASPA will process anode sludge from our recycling sites in Berse and Lünen. You could see the location of the new facility marked with a little blue square in the back. The new process will enable faster extraction of more precious metals, such as gold, silver, and tin. Berse today processes about 250,000 tons of multi-metal scrap annually, ranging from the most complex residues to higher-grade scrap types. For us, metal recycling is a core business. This is how we contribute significantly to European circular economy. With ASPA, production is becoming faster, more efficient, and with less valuable metal loss. The new facility is also a prime example of the synergies created by the acquisition of the former Metallo Group, and also how the Arubis network benefits in developing new innovative solutions together. There is no talk about innovation without the topic of hydrogen. In May, we successfully started a series of tests for hydrogen use on an industrial scale in copper anode production at the Hamburg plant. Until now, we have produced further batches of anodes made with hydrogen. With the initial tests, we gauged the reaction of the facility to the introduction of hydrogen. The good message: the individual production steps, which are highly sensitive in the energy-intensive metal production process, run smoothly. Not less important, the CO2 savings potential in the anode furnace of our Hamburg smelter alone amounts to 6,200 tons annually. As you may know, we operate anode furnaces in all our 5 main smelters. Hence, the total saving potential for our group is much larger. Hydrogen has long been considered the energy source of the future. In addition to electricity, it can become the energy source of today, if competitive parameters are created for its use. But the truth also includes the use of hydrogen isn't economically feasible right now. Hydrogen is about 4 to 6 times more expensive than natural gas. So initial support is needed. I believe that the concept of carbon contracts for difference will enable the early introduction of new technologies and ensure competitiveness. Nevertheless, Arubis is ready. With the successful start of the hydrogen pilot, we show how the carbon-neutral future can look like, thanks to the help of innovation. When we talk about efficiency, we also talk about digitalization and artificial intelligence. In 2020, we bundled all our initiatives under the banner of our digital factory. There is plenty of room to use artificial intelligence, ranging from sourcing and planning to logistics and production. I would like to give you an example of what we are working on. We are continuously optimizing our processes, like in the cathode shaft furnace in our shape shop. You can see it in the back. For this purpose, we created an artificial intelligence model that predicts how the melt rate in the furnace will behave in the next several minutes. This helps the operator to control the furnace and to match the planned melting rate and the real melting rate. It also assists the operator in deciding whether to initiate an action to control the furnace. The benefit is straightforward. We reduce our process deviations and further increase our reliability when it comes to product deliveries. This is just one example how artificial intelligence can help us in the daily business to improve our service level for you. Back to our sustainability agenda. Announced in 2020, constructed in 2021, and just finalized in October, we have so far invested around 85 million euros in a project to significantly reduce fugitive emissions at our Hamburg site. With the project, we are far beyond the regulatory requirements of the city of Hamburg that is actually surrounding us. As a comparison, since 2000, we have invested more than 220 million euros in environmental protection projects at the Hamburg site alone. You can see the illustration of the system in the back. The rich turret suction system is quite impressive. The project shows modern urban development and responsible copper production just a few kilometers from downtown Hamburg can sustainably coexist. We have proven that once again. Our primary smelters in Germany and Bulgaria are among the cleanest copper production facilities worldwide. Let's stay with our Bulgarian smelter for a moment. Last year at LME Week, we announced that our site in Pirdop would be the first Arubis site to be certified in accordance with the requirements of the copper mark. And we kept our promise. For any of you who don't know the copper mark yet, it's a new quality seal for the copper sector. It's a distinction for companies with responsible production. It comprises 32 sustainability criteria and is oriented to the United Nations framework, referred to as Sustainable Development Goals. But Pirdop was just the start. Until the end of September 2022, we aim to receive the copper mark also for our sites in Hamburg and Lünen. To have our primary sites, Pirdop and Hamburg, high up on the list of sites that are first received the copper mark isn't by chance. Showing responsibility towards countries where we source concentrate is of the utmost importance for us. With the audit process of the copper mark, we make our ambition transparent. This is because one thing is clear. Yes, we need recycling to act responsibly with the raw materials given by nature. But it is also true that we as a society need to add primary material to the recycling cycle continuously, and this for many decades to come. Therefore, on the one hand, we are investing to make our primary sites stronger and more efficient. On the other hand, we are intensifying our efforts regarding business partners. Arubis values business partners that share the dedication towards sustainability that we do. For us, a key differentiator when it comes to future sourcing activities. Last month, we started our flagship project for renewable energies in Pirdop. Here, we are building the largest photovoltaic plant for internal use in Bulgaria. The power output of 10 megawatt peak supplements our plant's energy supply and will account for 2.5% of annual electricity consumption. At first glance, this doesn't seem like much. But we are talking about an area of 104,000 square meters and over 20,000 photovoltaic panels. And with this project, we are reducing our CO2 footprint by 14,000 tons of CO2 annually. For us, this represents just one important milestone. Our vision for the Bulgarian side is to generate 20% of the electricity that we need from internal renewable sources before 2030. Environmental protection measures were also on the list of investments we completed at our Spanish site in Barango in 2021. Thanks to innovative systems, we significantly reduced the pollution of volatile organic compounds, carbon monoxide and nitrogen. We did this through the installation of a so-called regenerative thermal oxidizer, RTO for short. With the RTO, we fulfill the highest CO2 emission legislation in Spain. Plus, we generated the unique opportunity to increase our throughput at the site. Together with the entry of slags from the Arubis network, plus continuous improvement and the RTO, we have been able to increase the furnace input by almost 10%. A role model for other sites in our network. So far, we have mainly talked about our current plan of how we would like to develop from a good to a great company. But what about the future? In 2020 and 2021, we pulled together our best people. We wanted to know where to play in the future. If you want to stay at the sharp end of a dynamic market, you need to question your strategy regularly. A strategy that was built on the 3 pillars: growth, efficiency, and responsibility. All these pillars equally important. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll release detailed information about our strategy update by the end of this calendar year. But today I want to give you a glimpse of what drives us. We see recycling as a very attractive growth market. With the capability of our recycling cluster, Ohlen, Lünen, Berse and Barango, we already offer to our global business partners a wide range of services today. Because we want to be your partner of choice, even when it comes to the most complex recycling materials. For the future, we see North America as an increasingly attractive market. We want to bring our services and solutions closer to our sourcing markets, closer to our business partners as a first mover of our industry. And we want to be the preferred one-stop shop for our local clients. We are heavily driven by synergies. I talked about Aspa, a fantastic project, purely invented in-house at the former Metallo Group. But to unfold its full beauty, it needed a closely linked smelter network like ours. Again, Metallo was a perfect fit to the Arubis Group to strengthen the service portfolio for our clients. And we see more opportunities for synergies on the horizon. To finance them, we can rely on a strong balance sheet. An equity ratio of around 50% provides us sufficient room to maneuver. We act prudently when it comes to financing because reliability is key for us. To sum it up, acting sustainably is key to being successful in the future. We want to be carbon neutral well before 2050. We have committed to the 1.5-degree target and we prove our progress. We are already well underway to being the most sustainable and efficient smelter network. And by implementing a broad portfolio of measures, we clearly show that the copper industry is part of the solution to make the energy transition work. If the political framework is right, Arubis can even accelerate. And finally, there's more to come with our strategy update in December. in order to be your partner of choice and to act responsibly in line with our mission. So, this could be the perfect end of my speech. But I have one more thing. Dear business partners, we listen, and we love to listen to you. In various direct talks, we learned our efforts and investments to act responsibly are well noted. Our dedication towards best-in-class sustainability can help you to make your business grow. Arubis is the preferred outlet if you want to have your raw materials treated in the most responsible way. Arubis is the place to go if you're searching for a supplier of metals that are produced with the highest ambition of sustainability. Of course, without sacrificing reliability of quality and supply. This feedback makes us thankful. It makes us proud. And indeed, we are proud to belong to the forerunners for sustainability and efficiency in our industry. I hope the first part of my speech underpinned that. Today, we want to make this dedication towards sustainability even more tangible and transparent. We give you a promise that tomorrow, too, Arubis metals will be the ones made with the highest standards for a better tomorrow. Therefore, we have created a clear symbol. I'm thrilled to present you today the new Arubis Label. It reflects all of our efforts in sustainability, and it will serve as your proof that you are doing business with a respectable and credible metal producer in that regard. I'm happy to have Michael Hellemann here with me. He will tell you more about our new label after a short video introduction. We are Arubis. We are not just producing metals. We are producing tomorrow metals.
We are leading in metals, and we will continue to be. Our leadership ambitions include the highest demand we make on ourselves to set standards for our customers with our products and solutions. Whatever we do really well. This also applies to the greatest challenge that extends far beyond our industry: sustainability. We recognized this issue early on. We talked little about it, but we've done a lot. For more than 20 years, everything we do focuses on a balance of economy, environment, people. During this period, we have invested more than 670 million euros in environmental protection measures. Over the last 2 decades, we have reduced CO2 emissions by almost 40%. By decarbonizing our production, we are contributing to the 1.5-degree goal of the Paris Climate Agreement, and we don't stop here. Today, we are going one step further by launching Tomorrow Metals. Tomorrow Metals is our Arubis promise that you stay best in class in all sustainability challenges of today and the future by using our metals. Because we are following our clear ambition to support the Science Based Targets initiative to further reduce our CO2 footprint by 50% until 2030. We are expanding our multi-metal recycling efforts to more than 1 million tons capacity, enabling better closing the loop solutions. And we are responsibly sourcing raw materials to supply metals for an innovative world. We are committed to constantly delivering more value with less environmental footprint. We are ready for tomorrow. Are you? Arubis. Who, if not us?
Ladies and gentlemen, also a very warm welcome from my side to this event. We are grateful and happy for your participation and for the fact that you have decided to join us today. We are also extremely excited. This is the day we at Aurubis are launching our new label, the one you have just seen, Tomorrow Metals by Aurubis. We have been working on this for some time now. We are really eager to share with you what is behind the label and why we believe this is important to our customers and to our industry. Tomorrow Metals is a launch today and a promise. Our promise for Tomorrow Metals by Aurubis to our customers is: only Aurubis provides the easiest way to be and stay best in class in sustainability, today and in the future, without sacrificing reliability of quality and supply. This may be perceived as a rather bold statement. I'd like to take you through the what. What is in it for you? What are the pillars of our promise? And what are some of the numbers and explanations for us believing in the promise to you? The pillars of Tomorrow Metals are broad, yet detailed and scientifically documented. They cover the following 4 areas: environmental footprint, carbon footprint, recycling, and responsibility, meaning social, sourcing, and supply. Let me give you some of the facts behind our tagline, starting with pillar number 1, environmental footprint. The video you have just seen stated that we have invested around 617 million euros in this area since year 2000. We have concentrated on lowering our environmental footprint intensively the last 2 decades, and we will keep doing so in the future. This is nothing new to our company. Roland already pointed out some of our achievements. Since year 2000, we have reduced dust emissions by air by 96%. We have reduced metal emissions to water by 88%, and we have reduced the water used for producing copper by 10%. We have made electricity use nearly 20% more flexible. We have also worked intensely on improving the ratios of environmental protection numbers. Just one example here, our SO2 emission ratio improved by 30% from 22 in 2013 to 15 in 2019. According to the ICA, the average global number is 60 compared to 15. One fact that also documents that our smelters belong the cleanest in the world. Carbon footprint is pillar number 2 in our Tomorrow Metals by Arubis label. We are dedicated and focused on decarbonizing our production. With this, we are contributing to the 1.5 degree goal of the Paris Climate Agreement. Already today, Aurubis produces copper cathodes with a CO2 footprint that is more than 50% lower than that of its global competitors. Our mission on the carbon footprint is clear. We committed to the Science Based Targets initiative. Therefore, we are staying ambitious. In addition to what we have already done, we want to reduce our Scope 1 and 2 emissions by 50% by 2030. We also want to cut our Scope 3 emissions by 24% per ton of copper. Both are numbers compared to 2019. The third pillar we have in our label is recycling. Recycling is an important element of who we are at Aurubis. At the same time, it has a very high strategic importance to us. Today, we have more than 1 million ton recycling capacity. We continue to expand our multi-metal recycling efforts. We are keen to make a significant contribution to the circular economy and to conserve natural resources. We are very proud that Aurubis today has more than 50 closing the loop partnerships in place. We have more than 40% recycled content in our copper cathodes. The fourth and last pillar of Tomorrow Metals by Aurubis is the one of responsibility. Responsibility in this context comprises 3 topics: social, sourcing, and supply. To support our efforts here, we have further enhanced our business partner code of conduct. We have made it even more specific in the last year, and we have integrated it into our general terms and conditions. We strive for true responsible sourcing, and we aim at having no high-risk suppliers in our portfolio at all. To support this, we have our business partner screening processes very well defined and incorporated in everything we are doing, amongst other aspects. That means that any business partner must go through our defined due diligence approach. It requires approval from 3 dimensions: our sustainability organization, our legal and compliance department, and from the commercial division. What can you expect from us for the future? I'd like to sum it up in one sentence. It is deeply rooted in our belief and in everything we are doing. We are committed to constantly delivering more value with less environmental footprint. I have now briefly described all 4 pillars behind our new label. The key message is simple. By buying Tomorrow Metals by Aurubis, our customers can ensure that in terms of sustainability, they will always stay best in class, today and tomorrow. You see, we have the history, we have the numbers, and we have the proven track record. The idea is to show this. Together with our strategy update in December, we will update our goals and measures that make all 4 pillars even stronger. Sustainability is not just a fad for Aurubis. We are committed to constantly deliver more value with less environmental footprint. So, Tomorrow Metals, who should make it if not us? Changing the topic, we'd like to share with you how we see the markets in the coming months. If I remember correctly, last year we were standing at this event, actually at this location, and the COVID-19 crisis was causing significant uncertainty amongst all of us. Today we are in a much better position. Thanks to the vaccine testings and rollout efforts, the global market seems to have found stability again. Now the challenges come from difficulties in supply chains, such as scarcity of containers or the impact from lack of semiconductor availability. What we see now is that the China-led recovery that started last year already has been reinforced globally in 2021. Both vaccination programs and continued efforts by governments to boost growth via large stimulus packages have a positive impact, which we see every day. We expect the strong demand to continue in 2022. This will be supported by a recovery in end-use sectors as well as semiconductor capacity expansions. We see the overall fundamentals of the copper market remaining strong. We expect, based on the latest Reuters poll, the current high copper prices to continue. According to Wood Mackenzie, the global refined copper consumption is expected to grow by more than 3% in 2022. CRU is even more optimistic with a plus of around 4%. On the cathode side, we see an impact from the sharply high energy prices on the cost positions in our industry. European demand remains strong, and even with the recent increases of LME stock levels, copper cathodes remain at historically low inventory levels. Throughout the year, we have been able to maintain our production levels and services. Turning your attention to the concentrate markets. Here we see a solid supply situation going forward. During 2021, several labor disputes and strike threats have taken place at major miners. For most, agreements have been found, making 2022 less vulnerable for strikes. We are pleased to see the latest positive development of TCRCs from last year's low levels towards the current benchmark. The development we see now is becoming more reasonable, taking supply and demand into account. The expectations for the next few months are pointing towards a better supplied market. On the supply side, we see higher production incentives from the still high copper prices and disruptions well below previous years. On the demand side, a variety of smelter maintenance measures. This should result in a more balanced concentrate market. We talked a great deal about a sustainable industry today. One thing is sure, if we want to get this right as a value chain, as an industry, we need fair burden sharing. Therefore, fair TCRCs are needed in 2022 as well. We feel there has been great collaboration with our suppliers during these times of virtual remote work. We are grateful for that. We appreciate this tremendously and are now looking forward to meeting some of you already this week in London. Let's turn the spotlight to recycling. The European recycling market is experiencing some volatility. During most of 2021, copper scrap was generally satisfactory in Europe with good to high refining charges. Recently, the scrap imports to China have regained momentum and are now back to 2019 levels with expectations that it will continue to increase. That said, we are confident that we will continue to secure the volumes needed. Regarding our copper products, rod and shapes, we have had a very strong year. We expect this to continue as well. With the launch of Tomorrow Metals, we feel confident that we have an even better and stronger offering for our customers in this area. All indicators right now are on growth for our products. With the expected continued strong demand for 2022 and historically low inventory levels, we can expect a tighter market for 2022. Adding the increasing production cost and the very high freight charges, we have found it necessary to increase the ACP, the Aurubis copper premium. We announced it last week, and it has been set at $123. This new level will be valid from January 1st until the end of the year for deliveries in Europe. Having said that, I would like to thank you all again for the excellent collaboration in the difficult times we are going through or have been through. I would also like to thank you personally for having joined us for this event today. And with that, I'll hand back over to Roland for his closing words.
Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, today's update now comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed the short update. We would be happy to welcome all of you again in person next year in London. Until then, our commercial team is at your service and happy to stay in touch either through video conferencing or more and more frequently again in personal meetings. Again, thank you for being our business partners today and tomorrow with Tomorrow Metals by Arubis.